Story time, story time. Oh, 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 it's story time. Story time, story time. Let's read a book!
Hello and welcome to Storytime. Tonight's edition is our first digital Storytime book, and it is called Marty the Mischievous Magpie. High above a pine forest on a sunny spring day, a squawking flock of magpies gather. It's nest building time. Monty, a daring young magpie with green feathered punk-styled mohawk, hadn't built a nest before. He wondered if his friend Molly would like to help him. At that moment, Molly fluttered down and settled on a branch next to him. Shyly, Monty asked, "Molly, it's nest building time. Would you like to help me?" Molly looked him in the eye. Blushing slightly, she replied, Why, yes, Monty, I would." "That's great, Molly. Let's fly to where the cliffs tower over the beach. We can build a nest there with a sea view." "Oh yes, Monty, what a marvelous idea. Let's go for it." They flew a few miles and spotted the perfect site on the side of a cliff. There were plenty of big, sturdy trees there with strong branches. It was perfect for nest building. The pair spent many weeks gathering sticks and twigs and weaving them into a big dome structure. Next, they made a bowl shape in the middle out of sticky mud. When it was dry, they carefully lined it with grass and soft wool. Monty was very proud of their nest, but felt it needed a little bit of decoration. To his surprise, Molly already had an idea up her sleeve. She smiled and opened her handbag. "Well, Monty, I have a few shiny treasures in here. I found them all down on the beach. They'll be perfect for brightening up our nest." Together they arranged pieces of broken mirror, pretty beads, shapely shells, and other bits and bobs all around their nest. Molly and Monty both agreed that their nest was now complete. They sat down to admire their handiwork. By now it was late evening and the moon shone brightly through a small gap in the roof. "Time to sleep after a hard day's work," said Monty. Finally, Molly laid 5 pretty blue speckled eggs. After a few weeks, one of them began to hatch. Molly couldn't believe her eyes. Baby Marty entered the world foot first. He was a hungry little fella, constantly eating and growing bigger by the day. Before long, he was ready to learn how to fly. He practiced flapping his wings every day, eager to take flight. Then finally, he made a leap for it. As he flew away, he shouted to his mom, "I'll be back in time for tea, I promise." "Marty, you're too young to fly alone," shouted Molly. "Come back now." But he was already flying high in the sky, testing out his skills with his wobbly loop-the-loops and feeling very thrilled with himself. "Whoa, I'm free!" After what seemed like ages, Marty decided to head home to the nest, but he had been having so much fun that he hadn't paid any attention to where he was going. When Marty realized he was miles out to sea, he began to panic. "I should have listened to my mom," he said to himself. This must be his lucky day. Just at that moment, he saw a small, jagged rock sticking out above the water. "Yikes," yelled Marty. "I've learnt to fly, but how do I land?" He aimed for the rock and made a very clumsy crash landing on some soft seaweed. Then he found he wasn't alone. A family of kittiwakes had been sitting there and saw Marty's sloppy landing. A bedraggled Marty looked up, very confused. Hello, I'm Marty, and I think I'm lost." "You're lost," said Kit, the biggest of the kittiwaks. "Well, you've landed in the right place. We'll help you find your way, but you can't stay here. The tide is coming in and this rock will soon be covered in water. Marty shivered with fear and said, I'm tired and I'm still lost. I want to go home. We need to make a rescue plan, said Kit. Everyone started squawking very loudly and all at once. Marty got upset and called out, Help! Help! Anyone! Please help me! Oh, do stop shouting, Marty, said Kit. We are trying to figure out what to do. We know a human who can help. His name is Fisherman Finn. I'll send my brother Ken off to find him. Finn has a big fishing boat traveling near here. He'll help you. He usually throws us a fish or two when passing. I'm starving, said Marty, but I've never eaten a fish before. I've only eaten worms and things like that. Will I like it? Kit smiled and replied, Yes, you will. It's just as slimy as a worm, but tastes fishier. If it's all the same to you, no thank you, said Marty. Before long, Finn's boat could be heard chugging towards the rock. Ahoy there, Kittywicks! Hello, Finn. We're very pleased to see you today, replied Kit. Our newfound friend Marty needs help. He's lost. Could he hitch a ride with you back to port? No worries, young Marty. Just fly over and perch on the main mast. Thank you, Fisherman Finn, said Marty. The fishing boat slowly turned to head back to shore. A very happy Marty waved goodbye and called out, Thanks, kind Kittywicks. Do come and visit me and my family at our nest on the cliff by the sea someday. In no time at all, the fishing boat reached the port, where an excited Marty could see the cliff top. He called home. Thank you for rescuing me, Finn. I've had a fun time being on your fishing boat, he said. Goodbye, and flew back home. Young Marty was so happy to be back in the nest with his family. Oh, I've had the biggest adventure, sighed a tired Marty as he snuggled up next to his mum. She gave him a welcome peck and said, You can tell me all about it tomorrow. After all, mischievous Marty was only a little late for tea. Marty the Mischievous Magpie.
Story time, story time. Oh, 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 it's story time. Story time, story time. Let's read a book!